Dreams are strange things, vivid yet fleeting, as if they exist on the edges of reality. They slip through our grasp like wisps of smoke, twisting our thoughts into shapes we never intended. No matter how desperately we try to control them, they bend to a will that is not our own. We cannot hold on to them, nor can we truly escape. They come and go as they please, vanishing before we can understand their meaning. In this dream, Elise found herself speaking to someone. Was it Eden, or perhaps Lady Mir? Or was it a figure lost to time, someone she had long forgotten? Were many trapped in this world when the doors were sealed? Yes, more than you could ever imagine. I'd like to meet them one day. To meet them would mean to face death itself. Elise's vision remained blurred, as though she were submerged in fog. The space around her was unfamiliar, an expanse of towering walls above and all around. Light filtered in from afar, casting soft rays that shimmered like liquid gold. She could see the faint glow of sunlight seeping through the forest canopy far above, its last remnants illuminating the cavern's mouth. A grand waterfall cascaded from the cavern's entrance, each droplet catching the light, sparkling before it tumbled into the shadowed abyss below. Elise pushed herself upright, pain lancing through her side where she had been struck by the massive plank. The sharp ache was a lingering reminder of the impact, though there was no visible wound. She grimaced, her body heavy and stiff, but she forced herself to survey her surroundings. The faint light cast everything in an ethereal glow, the cavern not as dark as it first appeared. At the edge of a large, tranquil pool lay a crystal rock, rising from the depths, majestic and imposing. A throne carved by nature itself, waiting for its rightful ruler. Tentatively, Elise tested the ground beneath her feet. It was soft, yielding beneath her weight, and she realized just how perilously close she was to the water's edge. Her feet, submerged in the cool, clear pool, stirred the smooth surface. She pulled her legs closer, gazing down into the water. It was as transparent as glass. The deep blackness of the pool stretched far below, though strands of underwater plants swayed gently in the current, creating a delicate underwater forest. Creatures, strange and unlike anything she had seen before, moved gracefully beneath the surface, some as large as the ships that sailed across the bay. But they paid her no mind, swimming by as though she were nothing more than a passing thought. Their world was not hers to understand, nor did they seem to care. As Elise's eyes adjusted to the light, she noticed the cavern's beauty more clearly. Lush trees and vibrant flowering plants grew along the ground, some far larger than any she had seen above ground. It was a place of life, of wonder, a secret world tucked away in the heart of the earth. A soft rustle interrupted her thoughts. She turned just in time to see a dragonfly, 3 times the size of normal ones, dart past her. More followed, an entire family, gliding gracefully through the shimmering light. Their wings glistened, iridescent, as if they had come from another realm entirely. One of them, curious, fluttered toward her, its delicate wings brushing against her cheek in a soft kiss. Their song filled the air as they danced in the light, softly whispering, "Such a sweet taste, sweet taste. Oh, we tasted nectar, sweet, sweet nectar." A sudden gust of wind swept into the cavern, the trees swaying as the air churned around her. From the mouth of the cave, a shadowy figure descended, carried by the wind. Elise gasped as she saw it. A towering figure with translucent wings, each movement stirring the air with a force all its own. The figure perched atop the crystal rock, its right arm raised, a small instrument held delicately in its fingers. It was a woodwind instrument, maybe a flute? No, something she's never heard before. The sound that filled the cavern was soft and enchanting, like a song played by the wind itself. With each note, Elise felt as though the music was threading through her very soul, its melody resonating deep inside her. Time seemed to stand still. The cavern seemed to hold its breath as the ethereal tune wrapped around her, pulling her deeper into its embrace. Her gaze remained fixed on the figure. The sunlight had now dipped low enough to cast the figure's face in shadow, but its presence was undeniable. There was something regal about it, a commanding stillness that suggested it was no mere wanderer but a ruler, destined for something far greater than what the cavern could offer. As the figure played, a chorus of dragonflies swarmed around it, their whispers filling the air. One perched on the figure's outstretched hand, another on its shoulder. The figure's gaze met hers, deep and knowing, as if reading her very thoughts. Elise felt a stirring in her chest, an unfamiliar sensation, a pressure growing within her ribs. The voice of a distant memory whispered in her mind, "That little soul within your cage, nestled between your ribs, do you feel it? One day, it will yearn for freedom beyond the confines of your cage. It will push and prod, seeking freedom from the flesh that binds it. It will strive to break free, to find a new home, and it will succeed, and you will cease to be." Elise clutched her chest, the sensation of something inside her pushing, thrashing to be free. Her heart raced, and for a moment it seemed as if it might burst from its confines. The winged figure remained still, returning her gaze with an intensity that sent a chill down her spine. The dragonflies, now a blur of movement, surrounded him in a protective circle, one perched on his shoulder and another on his hand, each seemingly offering him a secret only he could understand. Then, as if called by an unseen force, the figure raised its wings, and the cavern trembled. The air surged around her, causing the dragonflies to scatter and the figure to vanish into the shadows. Silence followed. The last of the dragonflies faded into the cavern's depths. The ethereal glow from the crystal rock began to dim, and Elise was left alone in the dark. Panic seized her. The quiet was deafening, the beauty around her now a haunting emptiness. She stepped forward, drawn to the edge of the pool, but as she did, she lost her footing and tumbled into the cool depths below. The water enveloped her, and this time she did not resist. She let it pull her under, embracing the darkness as her body sank deeper, colder, more numbing with each passing second. When Elise awoke, the familiar scent of mint filled her senses, grounding her to the present. Eden's relieved face hovered above her, the warmth of her hands brushing against her skin. "Mother," Eden called out softly, her voice tinged with worry. Lady Ymir entered, checking Elise's forehead, her aged hands warm and reassuring. "Her fever is down," she murmured with relief, then turned to Eden. "Go fetch the mintel leaves. We need to keep her strength up." Eden quickly scurried to the cabinets, retrieving the dried leaves, boiling them in water. The herbal aroma soon filled the room, soothing Elise's aching head. Eden carefully poured the tea into a cup, and Lady Ymir helped her drink. Elise winced at the bitterness. "It's the bitterness that heals you," Lady Ymir said with a knowing smile. "Now rest, child. You've passed through the worst of it." As Elise settled back into the warmth of her bed, Lady Ymir tucked her in. The old woman's touch was tender, but there was a quiet urgency in her eyes as she whispered something to Eden. Eden glanced at Elise, her brow furrowed. "Just making sure you don't get up too soon," she said lightly, though her voice betrayed the worry she had kept hidden. "You really scared me, you know." She pulled a stool closer, sitting beside Elise as her hands began their rhythmic stitching. The soft sound of her needle passing through fabric was calming, almost hypnotic, as Elise's eyes grew heavy once more. Through the window, the sunlight bathed the room in a soft, golden hue. A bird flew by, followed by 2 butterflies. Elise's gaze drifted to the small dragonfly figurine by the window. For a moment, she thought she saw it wink at her, a soft glow lighting up its wings. And then, as if carried on a breeze, the song of the dragonflies whispered in her ears, sweet, sweet tasting nectar. Her eyes fluttered closed, and she let herself drift back into slumber, the world outside fading into the distance. What are dreams? Are they mere fragments of imagination, or do they hold the key to something deeper, something beyond our control? As she slept, Elise wondered, once again, if she was dreaming now. In the darkness of her mind, she found herself once more in the middle of the river, pulled by an invisible force that would not let her go. But this time, she could breathe. She felt the sharp pain in her side, the blood dripping from the wounds that marred her body. But this was a dream, wasn't it? A familiar tune played in her mind, and she remembered. She remembered the wish she had made. She would find him. She would ask him. And if she ever saw that winged creature again, she would call out his name. Alistair.